Hi, I am Dr. Tate, the scientific advisor and nutritionist for Pearl Street Caviar. And today I have the great pleasure of introducing the new face of Pearl Street's latest campaign, Miss Kaitlyn Walker.
Hi.
So, Kaitlyn, in the video for the Fuel Your Drive campaign, we see you sprinting and jumping at top speed across the concrete streets of New York City, and then refueling with Pearl Street Caviar. Can you tell us a bit about the lead up to the video and your experience shooting it?
So the lead up to the video was I was so excited from the beginning because I applied and I moved to New York to do like wonderful campaigns like this one and really just get out there, and I have a background in sports. I've had that my whole life. So that morning was actually really funny because I twisted my ankle on the way to the shoot in
Oh,
my apartment. So I like literally fell down the stairs and I was so nervous going there because I was in a lot of pain actually. So I was just, very happy that I made it through. But working with the crew, once we got on set, everyone just had everything ready to go. It was actually my first time trying caviar and I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was so much fun, like looking forward to it. I had so much hope and everything just came out the way that I thought it would. I had a great time working with everyone, even though it was freezing. We were out there having so much fun, and I was able to do a lot of bounding exercises that I used to do back in college for track and field and, just get moving, which is always fun for me to do. So,
amazing. Oh my goodness. So now I was going to ask you, like, usually when you shoot video, you have to do multiple takes. I was wondering if that occurred. And then on top of it, you have this injury. Like, how did you get through this?
I left. So I was going to leave my apartment very early because I live in Manhattan. We shot in Brooklyn and I did not want to risk being late. So thankfully I had a little bit of time to like ice my ankle before I had to leave. And so we got out there and we did have to do a lot of takes, but I just kind of shook it off and I honestly wasn't worried about it. Probably like an hour into the shoot. I mean, it was minor. It wasn't anything crazy, but
Okay.
it was fun. And we did a lot of different takes. We did lots of sprinting. We did lots of running. I did sort of like, high knee type exercises and jumping jacks, all that stuff to get me moving. So I wasn't really worried about it. And we were having such a good time shooting everything. So it worked out well.
Amazing. So, as a former LSU track and field high jumper, I wanted to ask you how that background has helped catapult you to where you are today.
It's helped me in every aspect of my life, and not just like athletically. I mean, like mentally and how I think about things and how I handle things, because there's so much that comes with being a student athlete that I feel like not everyone thinks about. Like, it's not just about the sport. There's a huge amount of time management that goes into it. And even whenever we travel and we get per diem money, learning how to manage that and eat healthy and spend that money on good food and not junk food. So once I graduated and moved to New York to pursue modeling, it really helped me stay in shape because I knew what type of workouts would be good for my body post collegiately. Like, I don't need to do a ton of cardio because I'm already very slender. So it taught me, okay, well, if you're going to be working out, you just need to do a lot of weights to kind of stay toned. So I do that now, and just kind of forcing me into more, I guess you could say, sports modeling, because I mean, that's basically what our shoot was for me. And it was just a dream come true because it comes so natural for me to just, go out there and sprint. Like, I had to do that all the time. So I get to sprint and do it on camera and look cute, but also look strong and fierce. It was just so much fun. So getting to do that, I mean, track helped me a ton, but it also helped me in a lot of other ways and just like life ways as well. And working with people and being kind, working with people and, all of that. So it worked out well.
Incredible. So, given now, with current circumstances of things being kind of, locked down with the pandemic, how has your exercise and kind of like overall healthcare regimen change with these shifting events?
I would say it's a lot more of getting outside, which is not something that I'm used to now that I'm back in
Yeah.
Louisiana because I mean, you could say I'm used to it, but it's like you almost never really get used to how hot and miserable it is down here. And then I moved to New York, and it's completely different up there. But as far as workouts go during quarantine, I was working out a lot indoors. I actually have a Peloton bike in my apartment, so I'll do the Peloton bike sometimes. And then I also yoga. Love yoga. That's good. As well as just like going out for a run because we have a lot of outdoor open space out here. So I can just go out.
Okay, so given that things have been, locked down and we're in quarantine, how has your exercise regimen and self-care regimen shifted with recent events?
So it's a lot more getting outdoors for me. I still do work out indoor a little bit because I have my Peloton bike in my apartment. So I will try to do that at least 2 days a week. I'm not as good as it. I'm so used to taking my spin like classes with a bunch of people. And so that kind of helps get me going. So it's a little bit more difficult for me now that it's just like me in my little apartment doing it by myself back home. But I love to do that indoors. I love to do yoga whenever I can. But I also just like to get out and go for a jog because, being in quarantine, being cooped up, it can get a little mind-boggling at times. So I do like to get out, go for a run, which I enjoy a lot more now that I had to do it for 4 years at LSU. I've never been a runner. I always wanted to just go out there and jump, but there is a lot of sprint training that goes into that. So I've learned to love just getting outside and going for a good jog even more so now that I'm in quarantine. So I do that physically. Mentally, it's just making sure your day still has structure. Even though I'm still inside, I am still working from home. So it's still getting up in the morning and trying to eat a good breakfast, getting work done, making sure you get a workout. Things that you would obviously normally do on given everything that's going on, like in a regular kind of situation. But now it's just making sure I don't get, oh, I'm stuck inside all day, so I'm just going to get lazy. Like, no, you still have to have something, to do and make sure you're getting things done. So I just try to keep myself on a schedule. That's what works best for me personally. Because I like to be busy. I like to have things lined up. Okay, I need to do this, this, and that, and get things accomplished.
Got it. And along those lines, what motivates you in the morning to get up and go, to get that routine going? What is your
Just
morning routine?
knowing, I guess you could say, just like knowing that this is temporary, that's what I keep in my mind. I know that we're going through a huge pandemic right now, but I like to look at things positively. I feel like we're going to come through this. Things will get better. This won't go on forever. So you kind of have to still stay on top of the things you were doing before. So when things do get better, you're able to go back out and it's not like you just let things fall behind. So, and like I said, I'm still working. So I still get up every morning and I have to be, working by 9 a.m. Eastern time, which is 8 a.m. here. So I'm still getting up, I'm still working, getting my workouts in just to be prepared for like when I do go back to New York and I'm still in shape, I can still go and do shoots. I can still do modeling, all of that. So I just want to be prepared as possible for opportunities and things that will come later in life.
Great. And so tell me a little bit more about your nutrition routine, like what that looked like pre-quarantine, what it looks like now. Um,
It's interesting because I feel like it's actually gotten a lot better now that I'm not in college. Which is funny because I feel like I had way more resources. Being a student athlete, like you have snacks and stuff all the time, but I was just so tired. I mean, getting me to eat breakfast and when I was a high jumper was like difficult. I just wanted to sleep in, go to class, eat a little snack before practice. But now I'm way more cautious about what I put in my body. And I don't know if it's because that's getting older and maybe my body can't tolerate some of the things before. Dairy, I've really had to cut back on dairy a lot. I know a lot of people can't handle dairy, and I'm not lactose intolerant, but milk, can't do that. It's just not great on the digestive system for me. Even with coffee, I have to be careful with that too. So in the morning, I like to start out with either scrambled eggs or boiled eggs. Eggs are easy, eggs are quick. So I like to do that. And a boiled egg is great because I can like put it on and go get ready. And then when I come back, it's done. I like to do toast. I don't really do meat in the morning unless I have time, because bacon, which is so good, so not the best for you, that takes too much time. So I like to do quick, healthy breakfast, oatmeal with like some fruit in it. That's good for me. Or even if I'm like really rushing, I'll do some fruit and like a protein shake. And that's if I'm really rushing. I'm not a huge lunch person. I like to do a smaller lunch. So maybe like a salad with some chicken, something like that. I'm a huge dinner person. I love dinner. It's probably my favorite meal of the day just because I love to cook. So it's great for me to unwind. And I do a lot of chicken and fish throughout the week. Maybe red meat like once a week, and that'll be like a spaghetti, just because I like to have, I don't know. Like red meat just gets so heavy. I can't eat it all the time. Like I couldn't eat a steak every day. I would just feel so bogged down. So I like to do chicken and kind of shrimp pasta, those kind of meals. I wish I wasn't a huge butter girl, but I grew up in South Louisiana, so I can't, that's the one thing I can't get rid of yet. But my routine has definitely become a lot of me cooking more versus eating out. I don't eat out a lot, which in some ways is better because you know what you're putting in your body versus eating out. You don't really know. You know what you're eating if you order something, but you don't know how much sodium is in it, how much oil or fats that goes into it. So I like to control what I'm eating a lot more now than what I did before. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. But
you. And one last question. You spoke about preparing and cooking meals in the evenings. Where's your culinary background come from? Is that something that you grew up doing or more recently took on?
that is something that's kind of passed down in my DNA. My grandmother is the best cook in the world. I'll tell anyone that. She's the best. She grew up cooking. Her grandmother taught her how to cook. She taught my dad how to cook, and he kind of passed that down to me. So growing up, my dad was the one that would cook more so than my mom in the house. My mom cooked as well, but my dad has that passion for it. And I'm such a daddy's girl. So I would always be up there cooking with him, and I would spend summers with my grandmother, and I would just be in the kitchen. I would tell her to go sit down, and I would make her like a 5-course meal. And I was like 11 or 12 doing this. So I've always loved to cook. Even when I was like little, I would just take all the seasonings out of her pantry and put them in a bowl with like milk. Like it was terrible. It was disgusting, but I just loved being in there and the thought of mixing things together. So my love of cooking definitely comes from my grandmother. She's like my biggest influence. She's like one of the rocks in my life that has just been so inspirational to me. So that love comes from her and learning all her recipes and just kind of passing it down, because my family has dinner every Sunday at her house. And we've been doing that, since my great grandmother. So cooking's a love language for me, for sure.
Beautiful. Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with me.
You're
It's
welcome.
been
I
a
love
pleasure
sharing.
being with you. Thank you.
So glad I could do this.